Today's lesson 3.4 is applications of percent. How do you use percents to solve problems? So in order to use percents to solve problems, first you need to know how to find percent of a number. So I've given you an example here. What is 12% of 50? We've talked about the word of quite a bit. Of means to multiply. Okay, so we can solve this problem two ways. Okay, we could do so by using a proportion. You're going to see this proportion in 7th grade also, and maybe even in 8th grade. They use percent over 100 equals is over of. Is means part, of means total. So if I was going to plug in my values into this proportion, the percent always goes over 100. Okay, remember what a percent means, a number out of 100. So the 12 is going to go over 100. I'm looking for my part. I don't know what that is. That's what I'm looking for. That's my x value. Out of a total of 50. So your total comes after the word of, okay? And that's why we put total down here with next to the word of. So if I'm solving for x, I am going to have to cross multiply. So 100 times x would be 100x. Remember your coefficient, the number goes before the variable, equals, I would have to go multiply 50 times 12. Well, I know 12 times 5 is 60, so I just add that 0, so that's going to give me 600. Remember, my goal is to get x by itself. That's what I'm solving for. So I divide by 100. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side to keep my equation balanced. These two would cancel each other out, and x is going to equal 600 divided by 100. So 600 divided by 100 I know is 6, and so 12% of 50 is 6. The word of, because it means to multiply, the second way you could figure this out is we could change percent to a decimal and just multiply. So my 12%, to make 12% a decimal, remember we move it twice to the left, so that would be 0.12. I would take my decimal and I would multiply it times 50. So 50 times 0.12. 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 5 is 10. Remember to skip a space. And 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 5 is 5, 0, 0, and 6 when we add. Remember that there's no decimal places in my top number. There are 2 decimal places in that second number, so total I have 2 decimal places that I need to go put back in my answer starting from the back, 1, 2. So you can see that my answer is still 6. Okay, so 12% of 50 is 6. We will be using percent of a number a lot in this lesson. So let's start the lesson. Okay, finding a total cost. First it starts talking about sales tax, which is going to be one of your vocabulary words, which is the tax on the sale of an item or service. Okay, and it is a percent of the purchased price that is collected by the seller. Okay, so we're going to talk about finding a sales tax. In example 1, Marcus buys a varsity jacket from a clothing store in Arlington. The price of the jacket is $80 and the sales tax is 8%. The question is, what is the total cost of the jacket? So in order to figure this out, I am going to have to change my 8% to a decimal. So if I move it 1, 2 to the left, that would be 0.08. And I'm going to find out what is 8% of 80. So of means I'm going to multiply 80 times 0.08. I have no decimal places in my top number. I have 2 decimal places in the bottom number. So 8 times 0, 0. 8 times 8 is 64. skip a space, that's 0, 0. You don't really have to do the inside zeros because it's just going to give you a row of zeros. Add this up. Total, I had 2 decimal places, so when I go 1, 2, I put my decimal place back in. That means that my tax, okay, this is my tax that I'm finding, is $6.40, but that wasn't the question. The question was, what is the total cost of the jacket? So then, if my jacket is $80, and I have to add my tax, I end up paying a total of $86.40 for that jacket. That would be my final cost. So you're going to pause your video, and you're going to do a very similar problem. Pause your video. Okay, so the Your Turn says Sharon wants to buy a shirt that costs $20. The sales tax is 5%. How much is the sales tax? And what is her total cost for the shirt? So in this question, they're actually asking you 2 questions. Okay, so first you want to find out what is 5% of $20. Remember, you're going to change your percent to a decimal by moving it twice to the left. So $20 times 0.05. There's no decimal places here. There are 2 here. So I go multiply. That's 0, 10. Remember, you don't have to do the inside. So I have a total of 2 decimal places. That means my tax is going to be $1. That's one answer. But it also asks me, then what's the total cost? Well, if the shirt's $20 and the tax is $1, well then that shirt is going to cost me $21. And you should have answered both questions. Always make sure you're answering exactly what's being asked. In the next section, it's talking about finding simple interest. Okay, when you deposit money in a savings account, your money usually earns interest. Okay, when you borrow money, you must pay back not only what you borrowed, but the loan plus interest. So simple interest, which is one of your vocabulary words, okay, is a fixed percent of the principal. Okay, and then here's another vocabulary word. Your principal is the original amount of money deposited or borrowed. Okay, this formula that I have here, I equals PRT. This formula is on your 7th grade star chart, okay, for finding simple interest. It may not be on the one that you were given at the beginning of the year. The TEA website put out a new 7th grade star chart for these new TEKS, so we will be printing off the brand new star chart, and you will see the simple interest formula, okay? So we're going to talk about how to use it. In example 2, Terry deposits $200 into a bank account that earns 3% simple interest per year. What is the total amount in the account after 2 years? So you're going to follow the steps. Okay, step 1 says use the formula and plug in the values. Okay, so we're always going to start with our formula, I equals PRT. Well, before we start plugging in our values, I need you to know what each of these variables represents. The I is your simple interest. The P is your principal amount. The R is your rate, your interest rate. And your T, running out of room here, is the time, and the time has to be in years. So if they ever give you months, you're going to have to convert your time to years. Okay, we will be doing more examples. So in this one, we're going to go ahead and do this example. Okay, we're trying to find the I. So the principal amount is the original amount borrowed or deposited. Well, in this case, it's deposited. So that's our $200. We plug that in where the P is. You also have to remember that when these variables are right next to each other, that means multiplication. Okay? So we have $200, and the R is my interest rate. Well, remember, it's a 3% simple interest. We have to change that to a decimal to be able to multiply it, okay? So I'm going to move it twice to the left, and I'm going to multiply times 0.03, and then the T is my time in years. So after 2 years, that's what I would put here for time, then I can multiply all of these, and I would find out the total. Well, actually, that's just going to give me my simple interest. We'll talk about the rest later. So when you're multiplying 3 numbers, you can only, of course, multiply 2 of them at a time, and it really doesn't matter which 2 you start with. You could do these 2, or these 2, or these 2. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and start with 0.03 times 2. Remember, when you're multiplying, you do not line up the decimals, right? So I have 2 here, 0 here. That's 6 and 0. So 2 decimals total, 1, 2. That means I still have to multiply 200 times 0.06. So I got my answer from these 2, and now I'm going to multiply it times the third number. So 200 times 0.06. Okay, no decimals here, 2 decimal places here. That's 0, 0, 12. Remember, I don't even have to do the inside zeros because it's just going to give me a row of zeros. So there's 2 total. So when I go 1, 2, that is $12. So my simple interest, my I, is $12. Okay, so we're not finished. That's just the simple interest we figured. But the question is, what is the total amount in the account after the 2 years? So step 2 says, add the interest for the 2 years to the initial deposit to find the total amount in the account after the 2 years. Well, the initial deposit, remember, was $200, and it's going to earn $12 over 2 years. So now we just have to add 200 plus 12. So $200 plus the $12 interest, that account after 2 years is going to be a total amount of $212. Okay, turn it over, and we're going to do this reflection together. Okay, it's asking you to write an expression that you can use to find the total amount in Terry's account. So remember, again, an expression does not have an equal sign. Okay, we took our $200, okay, and we multiplied 0.03, that was our rate, and we also multiplied our rate times our 2-year time. So the principal, the P, times the rate, which is the R, times the time, which is the 2 in years. Okay, and that's the expression we used, but that's the expression we used only to find the interest, but the question is write an expression for the total amount. So what did we do after we found this? Well, this whole thing, after we found it, then we added our $200. You don't really have to put brackets. You could have just put one set of parentheses instead of all the little ones I put in the brackets. And you would have to do all your multiplication first and then your addition following your order of operations. Okay? Number 3 is a your turn. And so you're asked to do a very similar problem to the one we did on the front. So I need you to pause your video, use your formula to solve the problem. Pause your video. All right. Ariane borrows $400, this time on a 4-year loan. So $400 on a 4-year loan. She's charged 5% simple interest per year, and they want to know how much interest for 4 years and the total amount she's going to pay back. So again, they're asking you 2 questions, okay? You have to be sure that you answered both. So we're going to go ahead and use our formula, I equals PRT. Always start with the formula, okay? Our principal amount, remember that's the original amount borrowed or deposited, and in this case it's borrowed. So that's $400 times our rate, means we have to take our interest and change it to a decimal, 1, 2 to the left. That's times 0.05 times our time. And our time this time is 4 years. It's a 4-year loan. So times 4. Okay? Remember, you can multiply any 2 you want first. I'm going to start with the smaller 2. So 0.05 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 0, 0 plus 2 is 2. And then move 1, 2. So far I have 400 times the answer to these 2, which I did these 2 first. The answer was 0.20. Now I have to go multiply 400 times 0.20 to get my final answer. 400 times 0.20. Okay, no decimal places here. 2 here. That's 0, 0, 0, skip a space, 0, 0, 8. Then I add, how many decimal places total? 2, so I start from the back, 1, 2. Well, my interest is going to end up being $80. Well, that was one of the questions, was, oh, I'm sorry, it's going off the page. The first question was, how much interest is she charged for the 4 years? That's what you just figured out, so that's one of our answers. Go ahead and write that on the line. And the second question is, what is the total amount she has to pay back? So remember, originally she had borrowed $400. Now she has $80 in interest, so the total amount is just 400 plus 80, which is 480. That is the total amount she's going to have to pay back. Okay. In the next section, it's talking about using multiple percents. So some situations are going to require you to apply more than 1% to a problem. For example, when you go out to dinner with your family, okay, you might pay tax on the meal. And if you want to leave a tip, pay a tip to your server, okay, the tip is paid usually on the amount before tax. When you pay tax on a sale item, and this is going to be important in your turn, okay, remember this part. When you pay tax on a sale item, you pay the tax only on the discounted price. Okay, so try to remember that. In example 3, we're going to do this one together. The Maxwell family goes out for dinner, and the price of the meal is $60. The sales tax on the meal is 7%. They want to leave a 15% tip, and they're asking what's the total cost of the meal. So, first I'm going to find the tip. Remember, you move, you're finding 15% of the $60 meal to leave the tip, because they told us up above that the tip is usually before they add the tax. So we're finding 15% on $60. and we're going to multiply 60 times 0.15 to find our tip. So that's 0, that's 30, skip a space, that's 0, 6. When you add, again, that's no decimal places, 2 decimal places. How many total? 2. Go start at the back, 1, 2. Okay, so our tip is $9. That's our tip. And now we have to find our tax. Well, remember, our meal is $60. So the tax is 7% on the meal. Okay, so we have to find out what is 7% of $60. Again, of means to multiply. So there's 2 decimal places here, none here. That's 7 times 0 is 0, 7 times 6 is 42. I don't have to do the inside 0, it's just going to give me a row of zeros. So total I have 2 decimal places, 1, 2, put my decimal point back in, $4.20, that's my tax. Okay, so the question is, what is the total cost of the meal? So at the end of the night, whoever's paying the bill is paying $60 for the meal, okay, is paying $9 for the tip, and is paying $4.20 for the tax. So you have to add all that up when you're getting your bill. And so 0, 2, 13, carry the 1. That is a total cost at the end of the night of $73.20. Okay, now the your turn, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a multi-step with multiple percents. Pay very close attention to your problem. Read it carefully. Pause your video and try this one. Okay, let's go ahead and break down our word problem, okay? Samuel orders 4 DVDs. That's important, okay? 4 DVDs from an online music store. Each DVD costs $9.99. That's important, okay? He has 20% discount code that he's putting in online to get his discount. There is a sales tax of 6.75%. The question is, what is the total cost of his order? So this one's a doozy. Let's see if you were taking the right steps to solve it. Okay, first of all, 4 DVDs at $9.99 each. We need a total. What would we do? We would multiply $9.99 times 4 DVDs to see how much that's going to cost. That's 36, carry the 3, 36 plus 3, that's 39. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 3 is 39. Again, 2 decimal places here, none here, 2 total, 1, 2. So our DVDs are $39.96 for 4 of them. Okay, well, he has a 20% discount code. Okay, and the sales tax is 6.75%. Well, remember what it told you up above. You don't pay tax only on the discounted price. So we need to find out what's going to be our discount. So here's our total, but we're going to get 20% discount. So we need to find out what is 20% of this price. Of means to multiply. Well, I have to change 20% to a decimal, move it 1, 2 to the left. So we're going to be multiplying $39.96 times 0.20. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 0, skip a space, that's 12. 18 plus 1 is 19. 18 plus 1 is 19. That's 6 plus 1, that's 7. Add, and there's 2 decimal places here, 2 here. How many total? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here is where you have to think. This is money. Where does money end? At the hundredths place. So I'm rounding. I look at the number to my right. 4 or less, let it rest. The 9 stays the same. My discount is $7.99. Okay, that's my discount. Well, your tax is only put on the discounted price. Well, this isn't the discounted price. This is the discount. How do I find the discounted price? What do you do with the discount? You're getting money off of the price. So you are going to subtract, okay? So you're going to set up $39.96 minus $7.99, okay? So we're going to regroup. 16 minus 9, that's 7. I'm going to have to regroup again. 18 minus 9 is 9. 8 minus 7 is 1, and then we'll bring down our 3. So our discounted price is $31.97, and now I can find my tax on my discounted price. So again, here's the tax. I need to make a decimal 1, 2. Maybe some of you are thinking, but it's already a decimal. Well, you can have a decimal as a percent. You still have to move it twice to the left, okay, to get your decimal amount. Because remember, you're dividing by 100. Okay, so moving it twice to the left, my new decimal amount is 0.075. Okay, we had to fill our blank space with a 0. And now I have to multiply our rate with the discounted price of $31.97. Okay, so I have 2 decimal places on the top number. I have 4 decimal places on the bottom number. Okay, so when I multiply, 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 9 is 45 plus 3 is 48. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. When I get to the second digit, I have to remember to skip a space. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 9 is 63. That's 67. 7 plus 6 is 13. 21 plus 1 is 22. When I get to the third digit, I have to skip 2 places and then start my multiplication. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 9 is 54 plus 4 is 58. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 5 is 11. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 is 19. So 5, that's 17. That's 17 and 2 is 19. 6 and 8, 14, that's 17. 2 and 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. That's 11. Okay, now 2 plus 4 means I have 6 total decimal places in my problem, which means I start at the back and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put my decimal in. Okay, remember we're talking about money, so we stop at the hundredths place. Well, that's the 5. I have to look at the number to the right to see what happens to the 5. Well, 5 or more, raise the score. This is now going to become $2.16. So $2.16 is the tax on the discounted rate, but I need a total now. So I get my discounted rate and my tax, and what should I do with these two? I should add them. So $31.97 plus my tax. That's 13, 9, 10, 11. That's 4. That's $34. Remember, when you're adding, the decimals stay in a straight line. So your final should be $34.13. And that is your total. Okay. Okay, enjoy your long weekend, and we will talk about this next week.